You are told to chase funding, move fast, and ride the hype, or you'll be left behind. But if you chase too much wrong advice that sounds intelligent on the surface, you may drain momentum. In this episode, I'll explain 16 of the most seductive startup beliefs to help you shift the narrative and build with more clarity. I know 16 sounds too much, but it's as short as I could do to cover all relevant points, so let's go. Number 1, the idea is gold. But in reality, it is execution that matters the most. The best founders flirt with an idea, but fall in love and literally marry the problem. People still romanticize ideas as they were rare, but in reality, ideas are incredibly cheap. Honestly, guys, ChatGPT generates more creative ideas in one afternoon than most of us will produce in a year. What actually builds companies is execution, your ability to learn quickly, iterate if needed, and secure customers early. So instead of praising your genius idea, ship earlier than feels comfortable and stay close to potential users. Number 2, funding equals market valuation. Well, plenty of well-funded startups still die. We like to believe funding means we've made it, but 9 out of 10 funded startups still fail. Yes, funding gives you legitimacy, it gives you visibility, it gives you resources to scale, but funding does not solve retention, churn, product problems, or bad economics. That's all on you, by the way. What works well is shifting your view on funding. Look at it as a fuel, not proof of market fit. Then validate retention, willingness to pay, and unit economics before you increase burn. Number 3, VC is a must. Guys, not every great business and not every great founder is naturally aligned with venture capital, and that's completely okay. VC money is designed for companies operating in hyper-growth markets with the potential for very big outcomes. If your market isn't structured that way, or if the pace and expectations of venture financing don't feel right to you, taking VC can push you into a roadmap that may not actually serve your business in a healthy way. At the early stages, there are other paths. Grants can offer non-dilutive capital, credibility, R&D partners, and access to valuable ecosystems. I've also been advised many times to explore the classics, friends, family, and fools route, FFF, but personally, I prefer dealing with professional investors who bring structure and relevant experience. So before you turn to VC, look into grants and innovation programs available in your region. Combine grants, angel investors, and early revenue to build a solid foundation without the pressure of hyper-growth expectations. Number 4, founder is the best head of sales. Seriously, nothing is further from the truth. Your enthusiasm sells early, then it literally becomes the bottleneck. In the beginning, your energy is the pitch, it's kind of everything, and that's perfectly fine. But unless you are a natural sales magician, staying the only person who can close deals slows the company down dramatically. Therefore, focus on building a sales machine. Document your ICP, your message, and your basic discovery, qualification, and closing flow. Start looking for sales talent earlier than feels logical. Learn basics of scalable sales process in your niche so that you can evaluate workload and hiring needs. The sooner you hand this off properly, the faster you'll grow. Super important. Number 5, demos should only be done by specially trained people. This false belief will limit you more than you can imagine. Sure, for planned demos with high-match prospects, the founder or a skilled, well-trained team member absolutely should lead. That's your biggest opportunity to tailor the experience, answer deep questions, and guide the prospect toward a clean next step. But outside of those high-stake conversations, everyone in your company should be able to demo the product. Not perfectly, not with polished sales pitch, but confidently enough to explain what problem we solve, for whom, and how beautifully and effectively we do it. This will not just speed up the company, it will strengthen culture and teams buy into the project. And this is worth gold. When everyone understands the core use case and communicates it clearly, you build a team that truly gets the product and the customer. At the same time, you empower them to become internal advocates who can represent the product anywhere, anytime. It's brilliant. And I want to give credit for this insight to Max, the CEO of Legora, who simply said this on the stage of Slash 2025, and I couldn't agree more. So yes, use your experts for critical demos, but make sure everyone can demo the basics. It's one of the fastest ways to increase alignment, confidence, and impact inside a startup. Number 6, price low to gain market share and traction. These beliefs backfires in the long run. There is a very common vision among early stage founders that pricing low will help you gain traction faster. But discounts usually hide weak value differentiation, and continuously low pricing can drag your whole company down. Founders often assume that price is the main barrier, but in most cases, the real issue is that customers don't yet understand the value of what you're offering. If people see the true impact your product creates, price becomes a secondary discussion, not the main obstacle. Here's something important that many don't realize. Teaching your customers to pay for your product from day one is healthy. It sets the tone of the relationship, signals professionalism, and reinforces internally to your team that what you're building has real worth. It may feel like you'll lose traction if you don't discount, but it's rarely true. Because someone who refuses to pay often doesn't see the value, and serving customers who don't value the product usually leads to churn anyway. In fact, in many companies, price isn't even the hardest part of the purchasing process. Internal approvals, compliance, security reviews, and bureaucracy are far bigger hurdles than the number on your invoice. So from day one, price your services properly. And when you communicate value, frame your narrative around the benefits and outcomes your customer gets, not features. Outcomes, guys. Show real return on investment. Use case studies. If you can't make your case studies, borrow them from someone. Before and after examples are also good, and practical impact stories. Use pricing strategically, not just as a revenue lever, but as a way to filter who is genuinely committed. Super important. Number 7, PMF is a spectrum. 98% of people think they have PMF, but most don't. I know brilliant businesses that took 5 years to reach real product market fit. 5 years of learning, testing, adjusting product, refining the model, talking to customers. Early traction or one enthusiastic customer does not equal market fit. Real market fit is when customers renew, refer, and advocate without you pushing them. The real signals come from number usage, retention, satisfaction rates, and healthy growth from customers who actually love you, not just promoted free trials with 90% drop off. We don't want that. Number 8, scale as soon as possible to show healthy growth is a very dangerous belief. We all know that to survive, we need to demonstrate stable growth, but scaling too fast will multiply the waste too. If your foundations aren't solid yet, scaling won't fix anything. It will just help you burn through money much faster. You'll end up spending on sales, marketing, and operation long before the product is actually ready. And recovering from this is incredibly painful and sometimes impossible. So how do you know you're ready? Use gating metrics, not gut feeling. For example, payback period should be under 12 to 18 months. If you can't recover your customer acquisition costs within that time frame, scaling will just simply drain your runway. Gross margin must be healthy as well. Don't scale at any cost unless someone is just pouring money at you. If you scale a tiny margin business, you may never achieve break-even. Retention is another important indicator. Stable and meaningful retention. If retention isn't there, scaling simply feels a leaking bucket. And one more thing, scale your validated features first. If you're launching something new or not fully tested, carefully introduce it as beta. You see that many B2C softwares do that. Controlled exposure leads you to test adoption, understand behavior, and iron out issues before you amplify it with budget and headcount. The point is simple. Scale only what already works and test everything else, because scaling a broken model doesn't make it successful. It just makes it louder and more expensive. Number 9, you need to move fast. Sure, move fast works as long as you don't break trust. A lot of founders interpret move fast as an excuse to ship messy, but it absolutely isn't. Sloppy releases break customer confidence, and once trust is damaged, no speed will save you. Actually, if you want to move fast and stay reliable, you need solid development foundation. That usually means having a strong, available tech lead or architect who can structure the process, keep the system stable, and make sure service levels are respected. And honestly, one of the best early investments you can make is QA automation. Speed without quality is really a big mess. Number 10, hiring is not an issue nowadays. When you are small, one wrong hire in the first 5 can really sink you. Early hires shape everything. culture, speed, and the emotional temperature of the team. A mismatch in attitude and competence drains time and creates confusion. So just as I do in every video, I'll repeat this. You need to hire competent people with the right attitude that take your project seriously. To make it work, every founder shall consider working on the managerial skills. Use structured planning session. Make new hires. Run many different projects during trial period. Because really guys, capable people do not need 30 days to learn. They shall deliver ASAP. Set clear 30, 60, 90-day expectations or similar and spend approximately 2 to 4 hours per week supporting that person, not micromanaging, but reviewing work done and validating achievements. That will create solid foundation for your hires. Number 11, build a great product and customers will come. Ha, ha, ha. Not sure where this one comes from, but I hear it all the time. Guys, great products still need even greater go-to-market. You can build something wonderful, try to sell it to a wrong persona for some time, and end up in a failed startup. This is really that simple. So think of defining your persona, your ICP, craft problem-led messaging, and really work on those issues early. Because if you get that wrong, if your go-to-market is wrong, it's not going to work. Number 12, any revenue is a good revenue. This is a very tricky one and this is hard to understand. But getting many clients early sounds tempting. But bad fit customers will leave, complain, or both. And if you have too many of those, this might create deeper structural issue. Think that churns isn't revenue in SaaS world, and quite the opposite. Unfit customer distort your product, pull you in random direction, and contribute to failure. We don't want that. So try to define your ICP and actually enforce it. And I would recommend relatively early in the process design qualification questions that will help you to eliminate poor fit. It can be technical, it can be database driven, it can be perception driven, it can be literally related to buying process, but you need to figure out who is your right customer. Number 13, a solid process and a big team will make you faster. This belief is one of the biggest traps of early stage founders. Some people join startups from corporate environments where structural layers and large teams do make sense. The problem is they bring the belief that more people equals more speed. In startup, the opposite is usually true. Guys, startups are not mini corporations. They are closer to the wild, wild west. You need clarity and ownership, not layers of approvals. A surprising reality is that as you add people too early, you often slow down, not speed up. I know it doesn't make sense, but it's the case. I did experience this firsthand. At one of my startups, we cut 25% of our development capacity, which was emotionally really tough. But the moment we became leaner and clearer, our speed increased dramatically. Fewer cooks, fewer steps, fewer dependencies. Suddenly, we were moving like an actual startup again. A solid process, of course, helps, and a strong team helps. But at the early stage, lean beats large, and clarity beats complexity big time. Number 14. They believe that founder looks more credible by controlling everything. There is a persistent belief that a founder seems stronger or more credible when they personally control every decision. But if every decision needs you, you will never scale and your team will never grow up. Or even worse, you will never find the right team, and that's absolutely key. Early stage founders often hold on to everything out of fear, habit, or the illusion that only I can do this. But when everything flows through you, your speed drops and you become the bottleneck you were trying to avoid. As soon as you get even one extra pair of hands, the rule is simple. Delegate the whole function, not just easy tasks. Don't give someone 20% of a job and keep 80% to yourselves. That's how you burn out and how they fail to grow. Define who owns what and hold people accountable for actual results. This is, by the way, the only reliable way to know who really fits your startup. Also, give people decision rights with clear guidelines. Let them decide independently on most parts within their responsibilities and give few points for which they need validation, like extra spending or plan changing. Switch from daily approvals to weekly or monthly alignment sessions, depending on the topic. Relax. You don't need to supervise every move. You need visibility, trust, and accountability. Number 15. Documentation is for big companies, one of the most dangerous early starter beliefs. A lot of founders think documentation is something only large companies shall do. The slow ones, the bureaucratic ones, the ones with departments and layers. But purely verbal operating system can collapse even between two people, not to mention 5 or 10s. Misunderstandings happen all the time. Context gets lost, decisions get repeated, and suddenly you're fixing problems you thought were already solved. You have zero excuse not to document, especially today with all the AI tools available. Sales calls, product interviews, weekly summaries, roadmaps, those are all basics. And for remote teams, it's even easier. You just buy everyone a note taker and make documentation part of the workflow. That's gonna really save you. So don't be lazy. Create very lightweighted operating procedures for recurring tasks, not something fancy, just a mirror flow or something. This will also help with onboarding of new team members. Use tools like KeyLookup to centralize documentations, tasks, meeting notes, roadmaps, and follow-ups. Keep everything simple, searchable, and updated as you learn. Documentation provides clarity and alignment, helping you avoid chaos while maintaining speed. Good documentation prevents disorder and accelerates progress. 16. Go-to-market means direct sales, especially in B2B. Sometimes the fastest route to market is through someone else's audience. Direct sales is slow and expensive for early-stage B2B startups. Partnering with complementary SaaS products or platforms can unlock access to warm customers much faster. It may sound scary to look for partners as they may steal your idea, but that is why your job is to find the right partners. Identify the tools your ideal customers already use. Look for overlaps where your value naturally complements theirs. Start small, shared content, co-marketing, integration, or referral agreements. Even a lightweight partnership can open more doors than weeks of cold outreach, maybe even months. That's it, guys. If any of these 16 beliefs felt uncomfortably familiar, that's actually a good sign. It means you are becoming aware of the patterns and assumptions that might be slowing you down. The moment you stop building on beliefs that don't serve you and start operating from reality, everything begins to shift. Your clarity improves, your decisions get faster, and your actual progress becomes visible again. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure to subscribe, leave a comment telling me which belief you personally battle, and hit like to support the channel. Thanks for listening in, and as always, keep building.